Good morning, Journey. How are we? Well, I'm so happy that you're here with us this morning. Will you stand up? Because we got a reason to praise
Shelby's
this morning.
birthday. That's why you're standing up. It's Shelby's birthday.
Yeah.
He was not supposed to do that.
Happy birthday, Shelby.
Let's praise Jesus this morning because we've got breath in our lungs, y'all. So we got a big God to praise. Here we go.
I can see the clouds rolling. I can feel the winds, they try to shake me. I will not be moved. My feet are on the rock. I can feel the waters rise. I can hear the howling lies that hold me. He won't hold me now. My feet are on the rock. When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. My feet are on the rock. I can see the morning light. I can feel the joy on the horizon. Here my faith is found. I stand on solid ground. When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. My feet are on the rock. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. So stomp your feet and clap your hands. Our feet are on the rock. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. So stomp your feet and clap your hands. Our feet are on the rock. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. So stomp your feet and clap your hands. Our feet are on the rock. When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. My feet are on the rock. My feet are on the rock. My feet are on the rock.
You all sound absolutely wonderful this morning. Why don't you greet your neighbor and have a seat?
So if you're new, we're so glad you're here with us. Stop by the Welcome Center on the way out. We have a gift for you just for being here with us this Sunday. And so there's a lot of stuff coming up. I know this Friday there is a ladies' gun shoot out at the gun range. And so if you're a lady and you want to shoot a gun or guns, there are some going to happen. And so go see April in the lobby, or you can sign up on the app. The app is also the best way to stay connected, find out things that are going on, give, do all that stuff. We also have giving stations around all the communion stations for you if you want. So again, we're glad you're here. Lots of stuff coming up as we get into summer. We've already had a great first service, minus my microphone, but it was a great crowd. And so we're glad you're here with us for the second service. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start a new series. And I want to set it up today. And this series, what I want to do is, one of my favorite things to study is us. And to study who we are and how we got to where we are. Not just myself, but us as humans. And so the word human comes from the Latin. If I get an echo, is it echoey? Yeah, just a little bit. Okay. I'm like hearing myself, and I'm like, I don't like my voice. So, I'm just kidding. So, the word human comes from the Latin, which is humus. The word humus literally translates to dirt or soil. So they combined that word with another Latin word named homo, which means man. And so the word human literally means dirt man, right? So if anybody's ever called you like a dirt bag, you're like, yep, that's accurate. Like that's what we are. Like we are these things. And what's amazing about humans is this. We are amazing. We are creative. We have been given the ability to create. We can do amazing things. And what's interesting is there's so much beauty and wonder and amazing things in this world, things that we have created, things that we figured out, things that we have designed, things that we've worked on. And there is so much creativity and beauty to what it means to actually be a human. And there are amazing and wonderful things in this world that we can do and see and feel and touch and experience. And so there is this beauty that comes with being a human. But we're not going to talk about that this week. We're going to talk about that in a few weeks. Today, what we're going to do is be honest. And here's what I want to say. Sometimes being a human is harder than we expected. And for us, that most of us in this room are adults, being an adult is harder than expected. There was a phrase that came out a couple years ago. It was everywhere. It was on T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of things. And here's what that phrase was. Maybe you had this shirt. It says, "I don't feel like adulting today." Anybody remember that? Okay. If I saw you in that shirt, I would just look at you and say, too bad. Okay. Because we have to. We have to do these things. We have to experience these things. But being human isn't just about being an adult. The reality is, as a kid or a teenager, for a lot of us, some of the toughest moments that we've faced this far in life actually happen in our adolescence. And so it's not just adults that it's tough for. It's the reality. It's everybody, okay? But here's what we know. When we were younger, for many of us, we were optimistic. And the optimism that we had was that eventually it would get better. When you were younger, you thought by the time you became an adult, you'd be more certain, you'd be more confident, you'd be more in control, and you thought adulthood would feel more steady. For example, many of us, like when we looked at our parents, or maybe even our grandparents, we were like, they've got it figured out. What we now know is they had no clue what they were doing, okay? Just like we don't often have times of clues of what we're doing, right? And so at some point you thought you would arrive. At some point you thought you'd figure it all out. At some point you thought you'd stop feeling so fragile. But then you get here. And instead of clarity, you realize that there's pressure. Instead of certainty, there's a lot of questions. And instead of control, the reality is there's a lot of complexity to what it means to be a human. And no one tells you that, but being a human comes with constant tension, where you're trying to hold things together that don't often want to stay together. We're trying to understand things that don't always make sense, and we're trying to be strong when secretly inside we don't always feel strong. This is part of the dichotomy of what it is to be human. And that's where all of us are. The reality is that we are fragile. We don't like to think about how fragile we are, but we really are. Genesis chapter 2 says this, "Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life." And so think about what this story is telling us, that we were formed from dust. Not steel, not stone, not something unbreakable, not something that even lasts forever. Dust. Mixed with water and held together by breath. Which means at our most basic level of human beings, we are just fragile clods of dirt and clay and water held together by breath. And that's not an insult, that's the reality of what we actually are. And deep down, some of us, we've experienced that. We know how frail we actually are. We felt it in the moments you didn't expect. Life always has this way of pressing us. It's not always in big dramatic ways, although sometimes it is. Sometimes it's in quiet, steady weight. Responsibilities stack up. Expectations build. Decisions we make carry consequences that not only affect us, but affect other people. People disappoint you. Sometimes the people you thought you could trust the most, sometimes the people you thought would always be there, they aren't. And they break that trust. They betray. They tarnish a relationship. And if we're honest, it's not always other people's. The reality is sometimes you disappoint you. You said you wouldn't go back there, and then you did. You believed that you would handle it differently if that presented itself again, and then you didn't. You thought, for many of us, as we already said, we'd be further along at this point than we actually are. And then there are moments that seem to come out of nowhere where sometimes our mind turns on us. Anxiety you can't explain, thoughts you didn't ask for, and fear that shows up uninvited. The older we get, the more we realize your body doesn't always cooperate the way that it used to. Your energy fades faster than you want, and sometimes the emotions we feel are heavier than they used to be. And then it comes to actually living life. We're trying to make plans, and the reality is your plans don't always work. You may map it out, you may prepare, you may do everything you know to do, and still the thing you planned fell apart. Doors close, opportunities shift, timelines change. And in all of those moments we've discussed, what we come to this realization is that sometimes we're not as strong as we think we are. In the mid-90s, there was a Christian artist, and I'll be honest, and you might be disappointed in this. I don't listen to a lot of Christian music because some of it's just not very good, okay? But it's just true. But in the mid-90s, there was this artist that came along. His name was Rich Mullins. Now, if you're familiar with him, in the time of some of these other artists, he was very real and authentic. He was kind of like a rebel in Christian music. And you have to get past the synthesizer because remember, it was the 90s, and everybody thought synthesizers were cool. They're not. But he would write these songs, and in one of these songs he wrote, these words stick out to me when it comes to us as humans. And it says this: we are frail and we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Those two things can be true at the same time. Forged in the fires of human passion, choking on the fumes of selfish rage. And I love this next line. And with our hells and our heavens so few inches apart, we must be awfully small and not as strong as we think we are. And we don't like that. It's true, but we don't like that. I don't like feeling fragile. I don't like feeling things uncertain. I don't feel like things could slip. And so the great human temptation that we all experience is when those moments arise, and they will arise, what do? We compensate. We convince ourselves and try to convince others that we're prepared. We tell ourselves we're ready. I've got this. I can handle this. I just need a little bit more time, a little bit more money, a little bit more margin. And when things are going well, that feels true. It feels like we have control. It feels like we have stability. Maybe for some of us, we've had a season where things are going well, and it feels like we have it finally figured out. But inevitably, something will disrupt that. And it usually doesn't take much. It's a phone call. It's a diagnosis. It's an unexpected conversation that turns nasty. It's a moment that you didn't see coming, or it's a failure in yourself or in someone else that you can't ignore but has a major impact on you. And suddenly, everything that felt steady starts to feel shaky. And everything you thought that felt certain starts to feel unclear. And everything you thought you had control over, and I cannot tell you this much, when you realize how little in life you actually have control over, it feels like things are slipping through your hands. And in that moment, you're faced with the reality we don't like, that you are not as in control as you thought, and we are way more fragile than we realized. And if we're not careful, the realization can lead us either to truth or to push us into deeper pretending. And that's the world we find ourselves in. It's not new. We've just got technology and more creative ways to do it. See, the temptation, again, is not only to compensate, but also to pretend. And so we paint an image. We filter. We curate a version of our lives that feels safer to know what's actually going on. We smile when we're actually struggling. We say I'm good when we're actually not. And we feel the temptation to always show strength even when we feel weak. The temptation of all of us is to always post the highlights and to hide the hurt. And it's not because we're trying to deceive people. I think the ultimate reality as human beings is when we do that, the real problem is we don't know what else to do. Because somewhere along the way we pick this up. If people see the real me, the fragile me, the unsure me, the version of me that doesn't have it all together, they might not want to stay. So we manage perception. We perform at work, at home, in relationships, and even in the church. We as human beings, we learn the language. We learn the rhythm. We learn how to look as if we're doing okay. We say the right things at the right time. We nod at the right moments. We play the part. But underneath, for a lot of us, it's a different reality. Because pretending doesn't remove the pressure. Pretending intensifies the pressure. And over time, it creates something deep inside of all of us, a gap between who we really are and the gap of who we're trying people to think that we are. And as the gap grows, sometimes so does the tension. Maybe deep down inside of you, you've never put words to this, but there's this quiet thought that I'm not as put together as they think that I am. And then the even scarier thought comes when you go, I'm not as put together as I thought I was. And this is where becoming a human being feels very heavy. Because now it's not just the life around you, it's something inside of you. And the more you try to control it, the more you try to manage it, the more you try to hold everything together, the more exhausting it becomes. The ultimate reality of the good news that we see in the gospel and the story that we see in the scripture is the reality that we were not designed to carry some of the weights that we were carrying. You were never designed to be self-sustaining by yourself. You were never designed to try to control everything in your life. And yet, that's exactly what we keep trying to do. And that's why over the next couple of weeks, we're just going to have a simple conversation about what it actually means to be human. Not just the polished version, not just the filtered version, not the version we project to everybody on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Snapchat, and not the image we project when we come into a building like this and try to pretend like everything's together. The real life, the struggle, the fragility, the limits. What if the real reason being human feels so heavy sometimes is because it's always to point us back that we were never meant to carry it alone? Because the story doesn't start with you being strong. It starts with you being formed from dust and water and breath. Which means as amazing as it is to be a human, and as created and gifted and talented, and at the best of us, we are amazing and talented, it also means we come with limits and weaknesses and needs. And so what do we do in those moments where those two worlds collide? So to start this, I want to share a story in the life of Jesus. It's not going to answer all the questions that we just posed, because here's the reality. Somewhere in that little 10-minute monologue I just gave, you find yourself somewhere. But in this moment in the life of Jesus, it's this weight, this tension, this fragility, this moment that hits this person all at one time. Now, this story comes out of the book of Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 14. Now, chapter 14 to me is a very interesting chapter because it explores the highs and the lows of what it is to be human. And in chapter 14, the very first scene that we see as they're telling the story of the life of Jesus is the writer tells the story of John the Baptist being murdered. Now, John the Baptist, if you're not familiar with the Bible, is the cousin of Jesus. He's the forerunner of Jesus. In fact, some of the disciples that become Jesus' disciples started as being John the Baptist's disciples. John the Baptist was a big deal. And John the Baptist was very important to Jesus and his disciples and the movement that he was starting. And in fact, Jesus even at one point said, there is no one greater who's lived than John the Baptist. And chapter 14 starts with John the Baptist being murdered. And so you got to think that there's this moment where not only is this painful experience for Jesus and for his disciples, but there also has to be this kind of tension in the back of the disciples' minds. If that can happen to John the Baptist, what about us? Nobody loved better by Jesus than John the Baptist. And so it starts with this weight this grief, this pain. And right after that scene, we see Jesus, and he's on this hillside, and he's preaching to this large crowd, because we have to realize that when Jesus was preaching, people were attracted to what he was having to say. And so large crowds would form. And in this one particular story, there's a crowd of at least 5,000. More than likely, it was more than that, because back then they didn't count women and children. Sorry, ladies, but that was just the culture they lived in. So there could have been 15, 20,000 people here. But it's this large crowd, and he's preaching on this hillside. And it comes to the point in the day where he's been talking for a while, and everybody's getting hungry. And in one of these unexpected kind of things that nobody saw coming, Jesus performs this miracle where he takes a little bit of food and he feeds all of these people from it. It's like this almost unbelievable thing. But you got to remember, they just experienced the death of John the Baptist, and now they've seen Jesus do something that nobody thought was possible. And so all of a sudden, their confidence starts to grow. And isn't that life? The highs and the lows. Sometimes right after each other. And so Jesus has just done this amazing thing. He's still dealing with the grief of the loss of John the Baptist. And so Jesus, after he gets done preaching, he retreats to this mountainside to spend time with the Father. And so he sends the disciples on their way. And so they traveled by boat back then. So they're out on this boat and they're waiting for Jesus. And Jesus spends more and more and more time, way more time than they expected. And so it starts at night. But by this time in the story, it's early in the morning, and the disciples are in the boat, and there's a problem. And this isn't a peaceful night out on the lake. No, there's actually a storm that's starting to brew, and it's a windy night, and there's waves crashing, and their boat has drifted further and further from the shore. Maybe this storm that they're experiencing is the kind of storm that some of these guys were experienced fishermen, and so they're starting to get a little nervous about this storm. And in the middle of the chaos, there's these men and potentially women sitting in this boat waiting on Jesus. In the middle of all of this chaos, they see something starting to walk towards them on the water. And at first, they don't recognize what's going on. And there's a couple of reasons. Let's just be honest. Sometimes Jesus does weird stuff. And this is weird. Nobody walks on water. Nobody expected Jesus to walk on water, okay? And so they see this figure, and so they're kind of freaking out, and they think it's like a ghost, which is not a bad guess, right? And so they see this, and they're nervous. So now they're scared because of the storm, and now they're scared because this figure they don't recognize is walking towards them, and then all of a sudden they hear the voice. And Jesus speaks to them. He says, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." And Peter responds to this. And I love Peter. And one day when we go to heaven, I can't wait to meet Peter because he's an idiot. And he reminds me of what it is to be human, that you can still follow Jesus well. He doesn't set back. He doesn't play it safe. Peter leans in. Now remember this moment, okay? Just think about this for a second, okay? Nobody's seen anybody in human being since then or before then walk on water. Jesus is walking on water. And Peter's first response is, okay, what did Jesus say? Take courage as I, don't be afraid. Jesus doesn't say, get out of the boat. And what does Peter say? Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water. This sounds like me. And might sound like you on our best days. When faith feels strong. When confidence is high. Days that we believe as human beings, I'm ready. I can handle this. I don't know what's going on. Like there's this storm and that makes me a little nervous. Jesus is walking on water. That's kind of weird, but okay, let's go with it. Whatever he's calling me to, I'm going to do it. So I'm ready. I can handle this. I got what it takes. And so Jesus says to Peter, he says, come on. And for a moment, and you can't miss this part of the story because it's going to come back up. For a moment, Peter gets out of the boat. And can you imagine the weight of this moment for Peter? Like he's doing something, honestly, that's dumb. Let's just be honest. Like it's not smart, but he's trusting Jesus in this moment that Jesus has him. And so he steps out of the boat and he's leaving the boat that was stable. He's okay on the boat. And he steps into something unknown. And not only does he step out, he's walking on the water for a moment. And maybe you feel what he feels sometimes. Like there's this moment where he's doing it, and he's like, you know what? I can do this. I'm stronger than my thought. My faith is real. I'm ready. And if I can walk on water, like, what else is going to be thrown at me? I got it. Moments when we feel steady, moments when where things are working, moments we believe we've grown enough, matured enough, figured it out. But just like us in our lives sometimes, the story shifts, and it shifts fast. So Peter's out of the boat, he's on the water, and then the very next thing we see is this. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, crying out, "Lord, save me." That's the moment that Peter experienced, and that's the moment we experience. There's 4 little words there at the beginning. It says this, but when he saw. Now, in order for Peter to see the wind and the waves, that means his attention is drawn from Jesus, and now he's only focused on the wind and the waves. He took his eyes off of Jesus, and all he sees now is all the surrounding tension and chaos of the storm. Did you catch that? As long as Peter's focus was on Jesus, he's doing what he never thought was possible, and he's actually succeeding. But the moment his attention shifts, everything falls apart. He starts to notice the waves. He starts to notice the winds. He all of a sudden becomes aware again of the storm around him, and fear takes over. And this is what it feels like to be a human being. You start strong, you're ready, you're confident, and then life reminds you as you observe all of the chaos around all of us that you're not in control. The wind hits, the pressure builds, the uncertainty creeps in, the anxiety rises, and suddenly what felt solid doesn't feel solid anymore. What felt certain, I was doing this, feels shaky. And all of a sudden, Peter starts to sink. He's going under. And maybe that's the tension that some of us feel. The sinking. Maybe at some point, and maybe right now, you feel like you're sinking emotionally, or mentally, or relationally, or spiritually. And do you know the hardest part of some of those moments is you didn't expect to be there? Because just a moment like Peter, you felt ready. And here's where we start to feel in moments like this. Because when Peter begins to sink, it's not just a physical moment, it's a human moment. Because at some point, all of us knows what that feels like. Not walking on water, because that's crazy, but losing our footing. Where something that felt steady doesn't anymore. Where something that felt manageable suddenly feels heavy, and it's not always loud, sometimes it's quiet. It's for some of us, it's this moment, it's the weight you carry into the day before it even happens. So some of you, like the Bible tells us that God gives us new mercies every morning. Some of you wake up and you're already freaking out. Nothing's even happened yet. It's the pressure that sets on your chest because you don't know how to explain it, but you're feeling all this pressure inside of you. It's the exhaustion of trying to keep up mentally, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, economically with the people around you. It's the laying in bed at night and your mind just won't slow down. It's walking through your day and everything looks normal on the outside, but inside something feels off, something feels unsettled, and you don't know why. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's pressure, sometimes it's disappointment. And here's this feeling that we all have. It says this, I don't know if I can keep doing this like I've been doing it. And that's not always dramatic, but it's always real. And here's what's powerful about Peter. When that moment hits, he realizes what's happened. He realizes what's going on. And here's Peter's response to this moment. Verse 30. Lord, save me. Look, I've got myself in a situation here. I'm sinking. I thought I was good. I thought I trusted you. I thought I knew I could handle this. Peter recognizes something in that moment. He knows he can't hold himself up. He knows he can't fix it on his own. He knows he needs some help, and he says it out loud without filtering it, without dressing it up, without it sounding impressive. He simply says, Lord, save me. The scary part of being human and the scary part of trying to follow God who gave us life and breathed into our lungs is this temptation that some of us go through the entirety of our lives. And we feel the weight and we feel the pressure and we show up at church and we say the right things and we sing the right things and we do the right things and we look the right way. And we've never stopped in that moment and said, God, I can't do this. We got baptized. We gave a confession. We sing the songs because you're supposed to. We tried to think our way out of it, work our way out of it, control our way out of it, distract ourselves, stay busy with church. We stay numb. We push through it. We need help. And Peter realizes, okay, listen, all jokes aside, I know I'm Peter. I know I'm the funny one and does stupid stuff all the time. But Jesus, I need you to save me right now. And here's the part we can't miss. Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. If I'm Jesus, I'm going to let Peter kind of sink for a couple seconds and be like, you learned your lesson now? Right? It's a good thing I'm not Jesus, but that's what I would have done. That's what you would have done, right? Got to learn your lesson. Immediately, Jesus reached out and caught him. Not after Peter had fixed his attitude or fixed his problem. Not after he had refocused 100% on Jesus. No, he's still sinking. He's still paying attention. He's still fearful. Not after he swam his way back. I mean, Peter's a fisherman. Can't you swim, bud? Like, what's going on? And immediately, right there in the sinking, in the fear, in the failure, he failed. Jesus meets him. Jesus doesn't stand at a distance, say, figure it out, and say, Peter, clean yourself up. He says, Peter, what happened? He says, he reaches out, he grabs his hand. I love this quote, God meets you where you are, not where you pretend to be. Because listen, when you're drowning and you're sinking, there's no pretending. There's none. And Peter experiences this all in real time. Being human doesn't disqualify you. Your weaknesses don't push God away from you. Your struggle doesn't make him step back. It's the very place where he steps in. Lord, save me, because I can't do this by myself. And it's not just life. It's everything. It's that pressure, it's that fear, it's that anxiety, it's those moments after the moment where it feels like everything's starting to change. So Jesus pulls him out of the water. And there's this little moment that happens right after it. And it is the temptation that I would have said to Peter after this. But it's easy to miss the impact of this. But here's what he says. He says to Peter, he says this, you of little faith, why did you doubt? And at first when you read that, like, Jesus kind of sounds like a jerk here. Like, that's what we would have done. Like, why didn't you do it? I mean, think about this. There's still 11 guys in the boat that didn't have what it takes to get out there. Peter at least was dumb enough to do it, right? I think he had it figured out. But Jesus is reminding him of something. Because it all goes back to what happened as soon as Peter got out of the boat. What was Peter doing? He was walking on the water. He was doing it. It wasn't like Peter gets out of the boat and immediately starts to sink, and then we have this dramatic moment where Jesus pulls him up. No, it is this reality that, listen, Jesus is like, Peter, you were doing it. And then you lost your focus. And if we're not careful, we can hear this as criticism from Jesus, as condemnation, but it's actually not. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to remind us. Because here's what else I know about Peter that I also know about me and you. This wasn't the only time that Peter's going to fail. And it's not the only time that Jesus is going to save him. It's not the only time that Jesus is going to extend his hand and lift him back up. And it happened time and time again. And Jesus is like, Peter, how many times do we got to do this? But the reality is, it's the same question to all of us. How many times are you going to be doing it? How many times does God have to come through? How many times does God have to prove? Remember, like some of us, that's our story. He proved it to us. We said, God saved me. He grabbed us. He pulled us out. And then the very next time something happens, the very next season, the very next pressure, the very next storm, the very next phone call, the relationship, whatever it is that fails, do you know what we do? We're sitting there and we're flailing around again. It's easy when things are great, but when the pressure hits, we revert to fear, to control, to anxiety, and to pretending. Jesus' question is still, why did you doubt? Not to shame you, but to invite you back to the faith that once held you firm. So what does this mean for us? It means for us this. We are more fragile than we think. And we are actually more dependent than we want to admit. But we're also more seen, more known, and more loved than we can imagine. Because the same Jesus who reached for Peter time and time again, and the other disciples, and the other people that he encountered, is still reaching today. And he's reaching down and pulling up, not the version of you that has it all together, not the version of you that looks strong on the outside. Have you ever had to help somebody into a boat? There's no looking tough. You look like an idiot every single time, right? And how many times does he pull you up looking like an idiot? The real you, the tired you, the anxious you, the overwhelmed you, the unsure you, the human you. So here's the question. Where are you sinking right now? Where does it feel like things are slipping? Where does it feel heavier than you expected? Because that moment, the moment you feel your footing starting to give, the moment you're stepping into the unknown and you're starting to feel yourself sinking, it is not the end of the story. It's the moment that reveals something. It reveals your limits. It reveals your needs. It reveals that you were never meant to hold it all together on your own. And it's the moment for some of us where we have to say, okay, God, I need you to save me one more time. No speech, no explanation, just honesty. Being human is hard. And as much as we want people to think we have it together, we don't. As much as we want people to think that everything's okay, sometimes it's just not. It's hard. It's difficult. And no matter how strong you are, no matter how faithful you are, we will all have moments where we start to fall and to slip. And time after time after time, Jesus is there to pull us up and to remind us, Peter, what were you doing? You had it. We were doing it. Being difficult is human. But being human isn't just about the struggle. It's also about the beauty and the grace and the wonder and the opportunity that presents itself to us every single day. It's what we were created for. It's who we are. And there's beauty and wonder even in the fall sometimes. And so the next couple of weeks, we want to remind ourselves of what it means to be human. Let's pray. Father God, we love you and we thank you. God, we thank you. I thank you for this story. I thank you for this reminder that even in the moments where I mess up and fail, and that happens more regularly than I want to admit, that God, you're still there. That you still are a God that saves. You don't just save our souls one time so we can go to heaven. God, you're a God that still lifts us out of the water daily, weekly, seasonally. And God, help us never to be too proud or too bold to ask for that help. God, also give us the wisdom to remind ourselves of the times that you've pulled us out. Help us to be people that realize that being a human isn't about image management. That's what we've made it, but it's not. Sometimes it's about being real and authentic and raw and honest, not only with ourselves and with you, but sometimes even with the people around us. God, being human can be difficult. All of us in this room right now could get a phone call or an email or a text or deal with a situation in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 weeks that would just rock our worlds. God, in those moments, we feel like Peter, like we're sinking. And help us to remind ourselves in those moments that you're a God that saves, that pulls up, that doesn't abandon, that doesn't leave, doesn't chastise, doesn't condemn, but that saves. So God, give us that wisdom, give us that strength as we face the struggles of life. Help us to be better versions of ourselves, God. Help us to be human beings that not only lean and depend on you, God, but also display the creativity and the wonder and the grace and the love and all the things we're going to talk about in the next few weeks of what it means to be just like you and made in your image. So Father, we thank you, we love you, we thank you for this day. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Every week we come to this time where a couple things are going to happen. We're going to go into a time of communion. So there's stations around the room, and we celebrate this every week to remind ourselves of what Jesus did for us. But this is also a time we're going to go into worship, and we're going to sing. And for some of us in this room, here's the thing. What we talked about today, it's real. Like, it's going on in our lives right now, and there's a tension that we feel. And for some of us, this is the time where we kind of say, like, God, I don't know, but I'm going to choose to trust, and I'm going to choose to lean into your love and your grace. And so we want to sing that out. But this is another time where we're right outside that room right there. If you go right back there in the corner, there is a prayer room back there. And if you have some things in your heart, because we all carry things at times that are heavy and hard, and sometimes we just need someone to share with, sometimes we just need someone to vent to, and sometimes we need someone to pray with us, because sometimes we don't know that the best prayer is, Lord, save me. And so we need someone to help us and to guide us in that. And so if you want to pray with somebody or talk with somebody, there's some people back there and love to do that. And all that we ask as we go into this time of worship is you respond accordingly.
I'm at the end of myself and I'm tired. I've tried all that I know to do. Right now it's just by a thread, but I'm hanging on to you. I'm running out of hope. I need a miracle, and if I ever needed you, it's right now. Restore my peace, not asking, I'm begging. Lord, come through for
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope and restore every heart that is broken. Great are you. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Sing it out, let's hear you. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we
It's like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears, like holy water on my skin. Dead man walking, slave to sin. I want to know about being born again. I need you. Oh God, I need you. So take me to the riverside. Take me under, baptized. I need you. Oh God, I need you. Oh, your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears, like holy water on my skin, like holy water on my skin. I don't want to abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me want to change. I don't want to abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me want to change. I don't want to abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me want to change. Oh, I don't want to abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me want to change. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears, like holy water. Your forgiveness, oh, it's like sweet, sweet honey on my lips, like the sound of a symphony to my ears, like holy water on my skin, like holy water on my skin. Oh, it's like holy water.
We are so happy that we got to be here to worship with you all this morning. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week, and we will see you next Sunday.